What if I told you that the most powerful thing that you could do would be to love yourself? And it would clear up everything in your life. It would cause you to have everything that you wanted and would cause you to become incredibly happy if you could just love yourself. And then you'll say, well, I don't know how to do that. Then I'll say, I do, and I can show you how to do it. And if you were to do that, you would have this really wonderful life and you would have all of those things. And then you would be helping to create a much better world. And you'll say, no, that's not possible. That couldn't really go on. My life has been too terrible. I've done all these horrible things, and that couldn't be possibly what's happening. And then I can look at the world now, and I know that's not going to change because it's just going crazy. That's what's happening. And I started to sit down last night. I was going to write this article, and I go, there's nothing in your life or in our world that's happening accidentally. It's all of us. We're doing it. And we will change things when we decide to love ourselves. But see, loving ourselves means that we have to embrace our authentic selves, meaning why we were born. What was the reason that my soul decided to be on the planet or to come into the world? And I knew that answer. And that was the thing that was challenging for me, which is why I really couldn't love myself. Might have been that for you too, because see, when we start to discover something about ourselves, sometimes it can be shocking. It can be really uncomfortable, and then we don't move there because we become comfortable with where we are. Well, the world does that too, our world in general. And so that was the message that came through today. And you don't know who you can become. It's just not possible for you to know that because it's always in the outside realm, meaning you haven't done it yet. And it's always potential. You know how you hear that term all the time? You're not living up to your potential? Well, you probably never will because that potential never ends as long as you're alive, as long as you're in physical form. When I sat down and started doing automatic writing in 1989, I didn't know where it was going to lead me. And I didn't know why I was doing it, why I was saving it. And then I discovered, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing this for a reason because I'm going through all these horrible things in my life, but somehow this work is helping me. Somehow this is allowing me to get through. And then I can end up now at 73 years old and have healed everything. And I thought that didn't make sense. But then when you study science, you start to understand, yeah, it does make sense. Everything makes sense because we are energy, the universe is energy, the planet is energy, and we all direct it the same way with our consciousness. But when we come in, we have different evolutionary paths that we are following, all of us, because we have different gene pools, let's say. We have different genetic codes that we each have. And mine's not going to be anything like yours because I have a different gene pool that I pulled from to be here right now. But if I don't move through what was there, because everybody's gene pool has something that was limited or restricted because we didn't know things back then, whenever that might have been. And so then it becomes our responsibility to decide I'm going to embody who I came to the world to be, and that is the act of loving yourself. And then you'll say, well, I don't know how to do that. And I'll say again, no, you do know how to do it. You just forgotten. We all forget. That's what happens. We forget who we are. We forget our connection to all that is, to source, to God, or whatever, however you want to think of it. So then it becomes our responsibility to remember. And we will develop different ways of doing that. Throughout history, people develop things that say this is how we change. This is how we learn. And in that article that I was beginning to write, I was going to talk about Abraham Maslow. He talked about, self-actualization and all of these different archetypes that everybody developed something. I go, well, what did I do? Yeah, I developed something as well, and it took me 35 years to do it. And what I'm saying is that that thing would cause you to love yourself. It would cause you to become happy. You would move through all your generational trauma because that's what we're moving through right now. And then you'll say, well, I don't know if I can do that. I'm going, I did it. You can do it. I know you can do it. You know, that thing you hear all the time. If I did it, anyone could do it. That's absolutely true. It's just that you probably won't believe it. And what my problem has been is not telling everyone and waiting for everyone to believe. That's not going to happen. I'm saying that because many people are going to be moving through changes in their lives that you're not going to necessarily understand, or changes with others. I went on to X this morning and I was watching this woman who was giving this, she had a TikTok video there, and she was saying she lost her father and she was so upset because she lost her father to this cult because he was believing something different now than what he used to. And she's really sad about that. Many people are moving through that. And that's when you discover that you have to be responsible for loving you. We come into these bodies, into this world, and we have our families, we have all of that, but we have a soul. And you have a soul, and that is the thing that you want to develop. And surprisingly, that's the information that I was given, and that's what I have lived my entire life. But I've done the same thing as everyone else because we don't accept our potential and what we could do. And when we stop at some point, that's just what happens. But we're at a place where we must move now, and I'm doing that as well. I told everyone that I'm changing everything, and they'll see it in my program tomorrow because I have everything that people could use to live this really great life. I just haven't put it all in there yet, but that's what I'm doing. And then that's when I'm going to, and then the price is going to be very different because I have created something that anyone could use that they would never need anything else to live this wonderful life. And then what happens is they give that to others, and then we start seeing a very different world. And you can argue and say, no, that won't happen. And then you'll stay where you are. You'll still be angry. You'll still be lost. You'll still be not have confidence. You'll still have all of those things because you won't believe it. And I'm saying that because it's within you. We all have it, but we have to move through the barriers. Now, I will tell you, it's taken me a long time. So I don't expect anyone to get through this quickly because you have a different evolutionary path. However, I created something that helps anyone on their evolutionary path. And so when you look at this message that I put up yesterday, and listen to the video that's at the end of it, you will hear all of it. And I knew this was a year ago, but you'll hear it. And I have any answer that anyone could possibly want in their life. When I go into a different dimension of consciousness, I can answer any question that anyone has. Can't do it for myself, but I can do it for everyone else. And that's typically what happens for all of us. That's why we go to mentors and coaches and guides and all of that, because we don't easily see ourselves. But I've written it all down. And if you listen to that recording that's in the message from yesterday on my site, anyadvicefortoday.com, and if you listen to that, you will hear all of it. And it was done a year ago. But again, you probably wouldn't have accepted it or understood it because I receive information precognitively. And so it takes a while for me to hear it and understand it and for others. But you have to know. Everything that you need to live a really magnificent life is within you. And I know that for sure because I always see it. The only thing that you might have is the resistance to understanding and accepting who you are. And then you will make up excuses about why you're not doing that. I've done that too. We all do that because it's easier to hang on to the excuse than jumping out ahead and deciding, I am going to love who I am. I'm going to decide to uncover my gifts, my innate abilities, because they're always there. And that's what the message will tell you as well. So let me show you this, however, because I would love for you to see it. And when you go and here's the message, and it's on my site, anyadvicefortoday.com, and we urge you to love yourself. And you will see that it talks about everything that was given over the years. And it's broken down. We evolve in our consciousness over time, over linear time. I don't receive information that way, but we must understand that because then we become more patient with ourselves. We understand things over time. So does our world, and so does our collective consciousness. However, if you go down here, you will see there's another message that came up yesterday and says, you will believe in yourself today. And it's every message, well, a lot of messages going back to 2012. And as you read each of them, you will understand so much more. And then what happens is you come to the end and there is a video there. And that video was from a session of a year ago. And as you listen to it, you'll see all of these are the same 13th, August 13th, all these years, just to show you how we evolve in our consciousness over time. So does the world. And you will understand that for yourself when you look at your life and understand where you've been and where you could go now. And that's the most important thing that you could do because that's energy. When we understand that our lives are created through energetically, and so is the world, we will decide what energy we're going to put into ourselves and then put into our world. And so, but today there's a little astrological shift that is very valuable for all of us if we decide to love who we are, and that's what I'm doing. So I advise you check all of this out and do look at my program. Again, it's going to change tomorrow. You'll see all of it that's going to be there, and the price will be different, but it's always going to be open. It's always going to be available because what I'm leaving to this world is all of this work because it's I say to people, it's so the most valuable thing you can own, and you have to decide that for yourself. But I'm telling you what I have moved through, and this is going to be the complete story I'm going to tell. With this information, healed my life, and it can heal anyone's life if you decide that you want that. That's the only choice that we're ever making is do we want to love ourselves and achieve the goals that were given to us? Because everyone has something. You will read that in those messages as well. And so that will become your decision. But there's no reason for you not to have the most brilliant, happy, successful life that any single person could have. It only takes you deciding that you're going to do it. All right. See you guys soon.